terminal.
RCP chamber pressure looks good. Toggling up. Roger, roll, Atlantic.
Water towers can fly! Yes!
Tango Delta nominal.
Sliding down for SC off. Bring in SC off. Yikes. You bet. Concur. We don't need any more of these.
All right, folks, you know the drill. Let me know if you can hear me. John Galloway for NASA Spaceflight here, and let me know if you can see. Should be a feed from Cape Canaveral with a Falcon 9 over there on pad 39A. This morning, afternoon, or good night, whatever time it is and whatever time zone you are. Let me know. Give me a 5x5 in chat, and let me know if you can hear us and see the rocket. Dark out there tonight. If they get this thing off the pad, it is not going to be dark anymore as we have our artificial sun rising up. CRS-23 today. SpaceX taking supplies up on a cargo dragon to the International Space Station. So it looks like we are good to go with audio and video. Thank y'all again being part of our remote production crew. And we're going to be here doing our normal live commentary and watching this rocket launch. Hopefully we get it going here. But coming up on T-minus 40 minutes, we're about ready to get started. Let's go around the horn and see who we've got with us today, starting with our person out there in the field, Chris Gebhardt. Chris, how are you doing?
Oh, I am doing just fine myself. This wonderful early morning. I think we just crossed we're just approaching 3 a.m. here on the East Coast of Florida, but I'm doing good. How about yourself, Doss?
Too bad. You've rolled out, not getting rained on or stormed on right now. We've seen some lightning flashes, I think, right? But
We have, yes.
not the end of the world yet. So we still have some time. How is it out there?
Well, it's hot. It's humid. As you said, we've definitely seen some lightning storms off in the distance. No lightning storms over us right this minute. There are some off to the south. I just saw a nice little flash down to the south. But of course, one thing when you deal with the weather, the official forecast calls for a 40% chance of acceptable weather conditions at the instantaneous launch window of 3:37 and 22 seconds a.m. Eastern time. Here, just about 38-ish minutes from now. So one thing we do usually with these instantaneous windows, if there's a shot at good weather, even if the weather might not be good right this second, they typically will start to fuel unless there's absolutely no shot at going.
Yeah, so hopefully we start to see. I think I just saw a little bit of venting from the rocket there, which may be a good sign at T-minus 40 minutes. But let's check in with the rest of the crew also with us this morning. I believe we've got Julia Bergeron. Julia, we have you on comms?
Yes, you do. Hello, Doss.
How are you doing this morning?
I am still awake, which is amazing, and I can see a launch pad from US-1, which is even better.
That's excellent. So you're out in the field. You're at Titusville. Where are you at this morning?
I am indeed out in the field at Rotary Riverview Park.
Rotary Riverview Park. Excellent. So y'all, Julia is our resident fleet chaser. That's an interesting thing to say with the next person I'm going to introduce. But she is running all around the port over there at Port Canaveral, watching what's going on with the fleet. And today is a fleet launch. So we've sort of stacked fleet heavy this evening. Also with us, I guess in the studio, I could say, we've got Gav. Gav Cornwell, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Well, I hope you're ready to tell us some fleet-related information for this fleet-related launch this evening, morning, night, whatever time it is.
Oh, I am ready. So, as well as being the first Falcon 9 launch in 2 months, this is also the mission debut for SpaceX's newest drone ship, a shortfall of Gravitas.
That's a big deal, right?
Yeah, this is 3 years in the making. So SpaceX has always had, for about the last 5 years, just read the instructions. And of course, I still love you. So this is the first new SpaceX drone ship in 5 years now. If you've seen it on Twitter when Elon posted the video, it looks like a floating tank. It's designed for full autonomy. And tonight is the night SpaceX will attempt to land a Falcon 9 rocket on it for the very first time. Hopefully, it will all go perfectly fine.
So this is one that they've built from scratch, right? I mean, they started with one of the Marmac barges, and then they built a brand new drone ship, right? Can we still call them drone ships?
Yeah, I think they're living up closer to the name drone ship more than ever now as they work towards full autonomy. But yeah, they've taken all the lessons they've learned from the past couple of years with the other drone ships, and they've designed this completely clean-looking, black, sleek drone ship. Hopefully, yeah, it should do the trick. Maybe in the future, other drone ships will follow the design.
It looks to me like it should have one of those red Cylon scanning lights going back and forth across the bow. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
It looks like it should be automated. It's such a clean ship. Of course, we don't see it now, but we hopefully will get some shots from SpaceX a little bit later here. But again, first mission for a shortfall of Gravitas, the newest drone ship in the fleet, and a chance for shortfall of Gravitas to have a perfect record catching boosters. If it catches tonight, it will be 1 for 1, and it will have a 100% booster landing rate. That would be a cool statistic for it to maintain. But again,
like 1,000 batting average.
Yeah,
if you
exactly.
Hit on your first go.
Batting 1,000. I'm never going to bat again. I hit it out of the park the first time. I'm done now. I did that with like a what is it? Like a March Madness bracket once. I've only done one March Madness bracket ever, and I won because I just randomly picked teams. I don't know anything about it, and I'm like, nope, never doing it again. Anyways, y'all, again.
Well,
what's up, Chris?
That lightning strike was closer.
Are you
okay? Remember the radar? I said it magically appears at like disappears like right about 3 a.m. So make it go away, Chris.
Well, yes. I'm gonna hand it over to you. I need to go get all of the rain protection equipment out of the car.
All right, sounds good. And y'all, again, the weather is a little bit out there tonight. We're going to be, of course, we've got Chris's camera set up here, but if they start to get hit by weather, T-minus 34 minutes coming up here, but we may have to pull Chris if it starts to rain. We've got some folks back in the studio watching the weather radar. Of course, there are also lightning warnings out there, so there's the possibility that a lightning warning could cause Chris to actually have to get inside of a building or something like that. That's the rules out there. So we will see what's going on. But right now, 34 minutes away. We're tracking that. It doesn't mean it's the end of the world. We may still get a launch here. Again, if you're just joining us, this is CRS-23. It is a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket. Up on top of it, it's got a cargo Dragon on top of that second stage, and it is taking supplies? Well, maybe there's some soup on board. I'm not sure. It's taking supplies up to the International Space Station as part of the commercial resupply services. NASA contracting with various private companies such as SpaceX to take supplies and replenishment stuff, science experiments, all that sort of stuff, up to the station. So if you have questions for us, tag us in chat at NASASpaceflight. You know the drill. You've probably seen one of our broadcasts before. We'll try to do a little bit of Q&A here. And the same thing with the Super Chats. I've seen a couple Super Chats come in, and we will be saying thank you to some people as those come through, like Rough Rider Show with the $9.99, saying, after this mission, what would be the next mission for 39A? Inspiration 4?
My goodness, am I excited for that one.
Is that one? I mean, it would have to go from 39A. It's a crewed mission. They have to have the crew arm, right?
That's correct.
So is that what's next on the roster? I don't know. There's stuff and anything else in there.
I don't think I've seen any Starlink satellites magically appear. Whoa, I just had lightning to the north. Haha.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Well, Rough Riders, thank you so much for the super chat there. Of course, we're able to do this stuff because y'all keep showing up, so thank you so much for that. Let me see if I can't grab a couple of those questions really quickly. And let's see here. Survey says we do have questions, and I'm going to choose a couple of them as I stall and wait for Chris to get
I'm back.
to.
Yep.
Welcome back, Chris. See, it worked out fine.
I'm back, and the answer to your question is yes. Inspiration 4 is next off of 39A.
Is the next one off 39A,
Yes.
and of course that crewed mission. Have we decided what we're calling that?
It is a crew mission, yeah. It's a crewed flight, yeah.
But it's the first. There were some questions about. Well, is it the first? Civilian mission? Is it the first
first
full
private
rookie
astronaut mission?
Private astronaut mission? Is that what we decided on calling it?
That's what they're referring to it as. So that's what I'll choose to refer to it as.
That's
Yes.
what we'll use. Okay, first private
Yes.
astronaut mission. Good.
Well, because
and
they're not the first civilians to fly to orbit.
right,
either.
I remember.
So that would absolutely not be correct to call it that. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember reading through like a thread like that or something. I was like, actually, there were civilians in the past.
Oh yeah.
Let me grab a couple questions here. Starting off with Nicholas. Nicholas asking, is this an RTLS this evening?
I wish. No. Once they upgraded to the new version, the Dragon 2 version for cargo and for crew, they are too heavy. They have too much launch mass to allow for enough propellant to remain in the first stage to perform the full boost back burn to bring them back onto a trajectory for a return to launch site landing. This particular mission does have just enough propellant left over to do a little boost back, like a mini boost back, which basically just is going to slow its forward velocity and aim it toward the drone ship a lot closer than it normally would land if it just continued on a parabolic trajectory.
Gotcha.
So yeah, not enough to fully come back, but enough to do a boost back burn to land a little bit closer to help reduce the turnaround time. And you can see Falcon 9 is venting. We have crossed the 35-minute mark, so fueling operations are underway. So
that's what we like to see.
We'll see if we get there with the weather today. They were go to start fueling, and they have started fueling, but the weather is currently red at this time.
So there's a chance they wouldn't start fueling if they didn't think that it might clear up, and they are fueling right now. We see vapors on the rocket indicating that they're doing something. But the weather, like you said, is currently red. So,
yes, and this is what I was saying at the beginning. When you have these instantaneous single-second windows, if there's a chance at it, go for it. But that doesn't necessarily mean they think there is an opportunity to go. Just that they're going to make the attempt at it in case the weather clears. Could be part of it.
Gotcha. Let me circle back to the question real quick. Is it an RTLS? If you don't know, when we say RTLS, we mean return to launch site.
Return to launch site, yes.
Not exactly the launch site, though. It's like return to a landing pad that's near the launch site. It's not like it lands back on the tower. No. That's a different, shinier rocket that Elon is working on.
That would be a true return to pad
Return
landing.
to pad, there you go.
Whereas return to launch site, it is returning to its launch site, since the launch site is Cape Canaveral and Kennedy Space Center in the Eastern Range. So yeah, it does come back to its launch site. It's a valid term. I get it.
A little bit wider definition of launch site, but
then let me ask you this. So the shuttle, because that term comes from the space shuttle program. So if the shuttle would have had an issue during launch, but it launched from 39A or B and then landed at the shuttle landing facility, is that not a return to launch site?
It's not. It's a return close to launch site.
I don't agree, but
I think the shuttle documentation disagrees with me, and I may have to defer to the official documentation on that. I was going to ask, since it's not an RTLS where it's actually coming back to land, Gav or Julia, how far out is ASOG? Is it not the normal 600 kilometers or whatever? Because Chris was saying it's closer in. Do we know how far out it is?
Yeah, it is stationed.
Gavin knows the exact.
I think we might have got some robot mode. Julia standing in for Jack, it sounds like there. But Gav, go ahead.
Yeah, no, a shortfall of gravitas is stationed about 300 kilometers down range, which is about half the typical distance you'll find for Starlink launches, for example, which launched around the 630 kilometer range. So as Chris said earlier, the Falcon 9 will do a partial boost back to come in and land at about the 300 kilometer position on the new drone ship, a shortfall of gravitas.
Gotcha. So, good question there, y'all. Of course, there's one question, then we talk about it for 10 minutes. Let's see if we can't get a couple other questions here as well. So, nice. Thank you, Travis. Travis Cecil asking, what's the white pointy thing under the lightning tower? I'm going to go with rocket.
I like the way you phrased that, though.
We turned that around. We're not going to ask what the 4 white towers are, because there's no 4 white towers. It's just the one tower on top of the old, well, I guess the old Apollo tower that turned into a shuttle tower that turned into a SpaceX tower here at 39A. But
exactly.
Appreciate you there, Travis. Thank you.
It's important to be clear.
It is important to be clear. Here's one, Chris. What is in CRS-23? Are there any interesting payloads? Just fresh socks?
Just fresh socks.
I
Oh,
mean,
I like the
you
way
know
you
they
put
need
it.
fresh socks.
Well, they do need fresh socks. They do need fresh socks. Yeah. So in addition to a bunch of in addition to the crew equipment and the crew supplies that are on board, there's some general stuff for the maintenance and upkeep of the International Space Station. And there is also a whole host of scientific experiments on board. There's some tissue growth experiments looking at how the microgravity and radiation environment affect tissue growth. There is a new drug delivery and drug dispersal system that cannot be tested on Earth, but has to be tested in microgravity. But it could basically allow doctors and certain forms of medical treatment to have time, like a little device that would be in you that would time release medication to better optimize treatment for patients for certain illnesses and certain diseases. There's rodent research experiments that are going up on this flight as well. There are some really cool student-based experiments for the Girl Scouts and for women and for young women in space and outreach. A whole host of scientific experiments, but yeah, they run the gambit from biomedical to geological to earth sciences, for what's on here right now, but a lot that would really be beneficial to us here on Earth in our day-to-day lives.
Very cool. And one of the cool things about the Dragon is it's not just a one-way trip. It is
No.
going to carry things up, but then it will eventually come back down again, and it can also carry the results of science experiments back down, which not all the capsules can
Indeed.
do.
In fact, Dragon is the only one of the cargo vehicles that can return equipment. Now, the Crew Dragons, the Crew Soyuz, and the Starliner, when it flies, are capable of bringing back some small amounts of science with them, with the crews, but very, very small compared to the thousands of kilograms that Crew Dragon that Cargo Dragon rather can bring back. In fact, one of the most interesting things that it has brought back for refurbishment and eventual reflight is one of the little end effector grabby hands on the end of Canada Arm 2 that malfunctioned after after a couple decades up there, and they packed it in a Dragon and brought it back home for refurbishment. So, yeah.
Cool. I think it makes a lot more sense to bring that back in a Dragon. If you tried to bring that back in a Soyuz, one of the astronauts would have to hold it in their lap. Because there's
Pretty
just a lot
much.
of room in the
Yes.
Soyuz to bring stuff back.
Yeah,
let's
when I
try-
say there's not a lot in the Soyuz, there's not a lot of room in the
Yeah,
Soyuz, but they could do it if they
literally-
had to. Yeah.
literally in your lap. Let's see here. Real quick one from Musical Wolves. It just says jellyfish with a question mark.
Hang
I
on,
think
it is
that
starting to rain. Give me 1 quick second to
Yep.
protect the equipment.
sounds good. Musical Wolves just asking jellyfish. Wolves, if you're asking, might we see a jellyfish plume effect tonight? I would not expect it. That's usually right before sunrise or right after sunset, where you have the sun still able to shine on the, let's go here, shine on the rocket. But here in the middle of the night, 3 a.m. local time, wouldn't expect a jellyfish sort of plume effect if that's what you're asking for. Good question, though. Let me grab a couple of these super chats real quick. William Toll, thank you so much for the new membership. We appreciate you. The membership thing is a cool way to support the stream, get a couple perks and stuff like that. We've been adding emotes, like the little pictures you put in chat. I hear the kids love them. We've been adding some cool things for people that support us through the membership program, but thank you so much for that, William. And we've got Surfs Up Robotics. Says, thanks for the coverage while I stay up late. Catting robots. Catting is a verb, I guess. Like to computer-aided draft a robot would be to CAD the robot, I hope. Surfs Up, thank you for that. We've got Gary Braham is a new member. Appreciate the support. Laurie Jones-Wilson, appreciate you as well. Felly, new membership. Julian Followwell, just trying to speed run a couple here real quick. Let's see here. Space Wolf, thank you. What's the big white thing on the top of the tower? That's a crane. Different view, I know. You were talking about the view of the rocket back this way. And this is pad 39A, so it only has a single lightning tower up on top of it. Pretty dark. It actually looks like it's a little bit darker now with the rain coming through. Yeah.
Yeah, I had to take. I got everything covered, but I had to take refuge in my car. So
all good. Good deal. Appreciate you there, Space Wolf. And let me see. Now that we've got Chris back, let's see if we can grab a question here. Thomas and Fang asked, why didn't SpaceX crew rate a Dragon 1 instead of designing Dragon 2? Without propulsive landing, why spend years working on a new design? We could have seen Crew almost immediately after Shuttle. What do you think about that, Chris?
No, we could not. No, we could not. The only option for a crew vehicle at the end of the shuttle program was nothing, because technically nothing existed at that point. Orion came about a month after the shuttle program ended. Dragon and Starliner for the commercial crew program got their initial contracts the following year for the initial round of development for them. There was no way to expedite it. And the Cargo Dragons...
Crews with NASA Communications, live from Kennedy Space Center here in Florida. Today's...
Sorry,
Loud suddenly.
Yes, sorry. But yes. Anyway, that really did happen as quickly as it could based on the funding from Congress. But the original Cargo Dragons were not meant to be crew vehicles because they were solely for cargo transportation services to the International Space Station. SpaceX was then just able to take the Dragon design and iterate it up to be a crew vehicle from there.
Gotcha. All right, a very detailed question there, Thomas. But it's always good to play armchair rocket scientist, I guess.
That it is.
Let's see here. Musical Wolf says, I forgot Falcon 9 had those 4 towers instead of cranes. Do cargo launches require less testing than crewed launches? Cargo launches require less testing than crewed launches? I mean, it seems like that might make sense, but look at that, Chris.
Do they require? Look at what? Oh, oh, sorry, I'm
Look
in
at
my car.
that vent.
Sorry, it's venting.
Yes, it is venting right now.
Gotcha.
That should be the T-minus 20-minute vent that we're seeing, y'all. And I think the question there, Chris, was do cargo launches require less testing than crewed launches?
They should not.
I think we might have got you unplugged to the wrong microphone there or something, Chris. We just started hearing... There you go. Now you're back, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
No. Do cargo launches require less than crew launches? To an extent, because there's a lot less. There is a lot less like environmental control and life support systems that you have to review and that you have to make sure are functioning on your spacecraft ahead of time. But you also have to make sure that the support systems are functioning on this Cargo Dragon as well. So kind of, but not like really in terms of what I think the spirit of the question is, or how I'm understanding the spirit of the question, if that makes sense.
Yeah, gotcha. And again, y'all, you can see there is still some active rain, it looks like there, Chris. Are you getting rain on your car?
Yeah, there is. Oh,
yeah.
yes. Oh, yes.
Okay. So we have the camera outside. We've got the camera in sort of a waterproof case thing. Is the mic on the camera right now, Chris, or...?
It is not yet, no.
Okay, good. All right, good to go. Good to know. And it actually looks like SpaceX was giving us a view from the drone ship really briefly there. So it looks like we may be getting some live telemetry, some live video feed from ASOG itself for the first time.
That would be awesome.
We'll see. Again, we're T-minus 18 minutes. We're standing by for a launch from Cape Canaveral here. Weather is tough. Haven't heard an official yes or no yet, I don't think. But if anybody hears one of those, let me know. And we're going to see if we get a launch coming up in just about 18 minutes. I'll keep grabbing a couple questions here. And Chris, if you need to move around or something, just let me know. I'm just going to keep handing you questions until we make a decision what's going on with the rain, okay?
That's fine. Yep.
How about this? If it's raining a little bit, can it launch?
Not if it's over the pad. There is no flight through precipitation allowed based on the eastern range. How close the rain can be to the launch pad is somewhat vehicle dependent.
Okay. So if it's raining on the rocket itself, the rocket's not allowed to launch. But if it's raining nearby, that's not necessarily going to stop the launch, right?
Depending on how far away the rain is. And I want to make very clear, that's only rain. That is not our lightning rules and our lightning considerations or anything like that. Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of different rules that you have to go through to make sure that it's safe to launch the rocket.
Exactly.
So here's a good one. Does the White Room or is the White Room used for cargo missions?
Yes, it is. This is a fantastic question. Oh my gosh, I'm so grateful somebody asked this. Yes, so part of the benefit of using the same Dragon 2 design for both the crew and the cargo vehicles is that
Chris? All right, we may have lost Chris there. Again, Chris is out there in the field, so every now and then we have hiccups with his audio, but that is to be expected. Yep, we just completely lost Chris there, y'all. That's a good reason. Yeah, just as Chris was going to say, like, and the reason is, then all of a sudden we don't get to hear Chris anymore. We'll see if Chris comes back here in a second. Not exactly sure what happened with his field audio, but again, he's out there in the field, so sometimes that is a little bit difficult.
I can try and answer that question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So what is fabulous, I believe he used that word, about 39A crew and cargo being able to use the crew access arm is that you can do a late load of science experiments before fueling. Oh, I see Chris trying to get on, but with that being said, because you have access before that arm is actually retracted, you can still load experiments on there. So should there be a hold, which I'm hoping not, because all of a sudden I also cannot see the launch pad, by the way. Should there be a hold, they can take experiments like the mice off of Dragon and bring them back to the facility and then load them on the next day before launch.
Gotcha. So it is something that they could use the White Room there for while they're still connected to the rocket. I guess you could still have access to the top of the rocket as opposed to a rocket that's just standing there on a pad that doesn't have the access tower, like over at 40. So let's see here. Troubleshooting Chris's audio, seeing if we can't get audio from Chris really quickly here. But let me grab another question. Going to troll for a drone ship related question here for y'all. Let's see here. Here is a good one. We have our two drone ship folks on. So how many landings does it take to pay for a drone ship? Anybody want to guess at that one?
Gavin?
Fair enough.
Has
I
anyone
suppose-
actually seen a number for the cost of a drone ship?
I don't think so. I don't think SpaceX would share their invoices. I imagine building a drone ship isn't cheap, and depending on how your landings go, if it destroys the drone ship or if it lands successfully, that might alter how expensive your bill is to construct a drone ship. So I don't think we have a price on how much SpaceX spends on their drone ships. But I imagine it all gets wound into sort of an operational cost rather than a direct. A flight costs this much, and we have to land this many this many rockets on the drone ship to justify the cost. So I don't think we have that number. So yeah, I don't think there's a right answer to that question.
Wait,
Yeah.
I do know one number though. It costs $1 million to redeck the barge should something happen to it.
Redeck it like a rocket crashes into the deck or something and they have to repair it?
Yeah, so when you end up with a big dent and some burn marks and you probably can't safely land something again. The number she had said at a conference recently was $1 million, and that's just the deck.
That's just the deck. No kidding.
That was from Gwen Shotwell, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
That's the
Hey,
only
Chris.
number I have seen.
It sounds like we got Chris back.
Yep.
Okay, don't
Hi,
make a
Chris.
liar of me. You're back, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Okay, good deal. Just had to do the old turn it off and turn it on again there. Let's see here. Grabbing another question. We are coming up on 12 minutes before the launch.
What
Hey,
is interesting is I cannot see pad 41 where the Atlas and the Vulcan are right now, but I can see 39A. So like it's pouring near the pads right now.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to ask you, Chris, because on this side of the river, I can see 41, but I cannot see 39A.
Ah, interesting. So we are reversed. Yeah, 39A is clear from my vantage point, but 41 is completely obscured. Yeah.
Okay.
So it sounds like
And they're about like 2.5 kilometers away from one another. So they're close to one another. Yeah.
gotcha. Let's see. We're still 11 minutes away here. It looks like maybe there's a little bit less rain right there at you, Chris. But again, it's all SpaceX that has the call here.
Right.
Regardless of whether it's raining on Chris or it's raining on Titusville or it's raining on the port.
And something I would caution too is while it's raining, and that's what we're talking about right now, the cumulus cloud rule that was in effect for today is not only a rain rule, it is a lightning rule as well. The more charged electrically the atmosphere already is when a rocket goes up, it can reduce the amount of natural charge that's needed in the atmosphere to trigger lightning. So we call it the triggered lightning rule.
Yep.
And that and rain were the big constraints today, and both of those are here. So it will just be a matter of if they can find the hole in the needle to thread through here in the next 11 minutes or so. Yeah.
How's the launch window? I mean, this is going up to the station, and it's a Falcon 9, so this is like a one-shot thing, right?
That is correct. It is instantaneous. I believe the final time adjusted to the second is 3:37:23 now, or 7:37:23 UTC. So it is instantaneous. They have one shot to get off the ground. There is no ability to hold, not even for half a second. If anything pops up, they're done.
Gotcha. And do you know, are they going for the middle of the window, the end of the window? Like sometimes they go for the middle of the window, but really it's just one shot. So
yeah, so the Falcon 9 would optimize it to aim for the center of the total launch window, so that it is directly in the plane of the International Space Station.
Gotcha. Here is a question, because I paraphrased a little bit earlier. I was saying, it's SpaceX hands whether or not they launch. Trying to say it's not us that gets to decide. Like, it doesn't matter if it's raining on me or not. SpaceX gets to decide. But the good question, like clarifying that, is it SpaceX that has the call, or is it somebody from the range that says whether or not the weather is being violated? Who makes that decision? Is it technically a range person who says go or no go for weather?
For these weather constraints, it is a range person that would have the final say. So the range so if there is a violation for these types of weather considerations, the range would be no go. And if the range is no go, there is no way you are getting off the ground.
Yeah, it's not like you can say, well, but we'd really like to go.
Yeah, SpaceX cannot override those types of range safety issues. However, if this were an upper level wind consideration, that is at the sole discretion of SpaceX, not the Eastern Range.
Aha. So it just sort of depends on exactly what the issue is, whether or not they can.
It also looks like it's raining at the launch pad right now.
Yeah, you can really see all those vapors coming off the side of the rocket. Again, loading the cryogenic the cryogenic oxygen and the super densified RP1 kerosene. You can see the entire rocket is looking like it is venting off the side, but it's not. That's actually condensation coming off the entire length of the rocket, and now it's getting dark again on our view. So a sign that more rain is in between us.
Exactly, and it has stopped raining here at the press site, but the press site is 3 miles or 5 kilometers from the launch pad. So
let's see here. I'm going to check in. Really,
we've just had a hold on the countdown net. I think we're scrubbed for the day.
So that is a scrub for the day. Yep.
You can tell. I mean, it got darker there, and that is an indication that there is some rain happening. And I didn't quite get it in time, but there was lightning there on Fleet Cam as well. But that is an official scrub because that's a hold, correct?
Yeah, if they held the countdown, it is a scrub because it's an instantaneous launch window.
Gotcha.
So, so that would be we are done for today.
Yep. It sounds like they're still sort of rolling some astronaut footage here, but they do, on the SpaceX stream, the countdown is stopped right now. They stopped it at 8 minutes and 40 seconds. And there was lightning on Fleet Cam, too, again.
Yeah, which means we are scrubbed for today.
Yeah.
So that is not a surprise. Oh, that is not a surprise. Oh, well, I wonder what happened to that camera.
I just went dashing out to get mine because it started raining in Titusville. So, yeah.
Like, I completely lost that feed, Chris. Is the camera still there?
The feed? Yeah, the camera's still here. Yeah.
Okay. Are you moving it or something?
I moved it, and I think I bumped it, and it was showing a tree, but that's actually what you can see right now. It's raining so hard at the pad that it's obscuring the lights
Yeah.
at
So
39A, and the camera cannot focus on, and the
can't
camera is
even
having a really hard time focusing on anything out there. Yeah.
see through the rain. Look at that.
It can't
Jeez.
see through the rain. Yeah. Yeah, like that's it trying to autofocus actually.
Yep. And
There, yeah. And it just can't because of the rain. Yeah. Okay. Well, so that will be it for today. So the backup opportunity is tomorrow, Sunday, the 29th of August at 3:14:48 a.m. Eastern Time, 7:14:48 UTC. That is our backup time tomorrow. Instantaneous launch window. Once again, much better weather odds at 60% go conditions per the latest forecast for tomorrow. So we'll do this all again tomorrow.
well, there you go, Chris. Go pack up that camera and dry it off before you put it in the bag. Best you can. Make sure the batteries don't get wet, please. But if you want to go ahead and clean that up, and I'll roll out some of the super chats and stuff like that here. But that was a very short-lived live stream. We'll just keep it on Fleet Cam here, and we'll continue to see. We've got some of those flashes there. But again, if you're just joining us, the hold means that we are scrubbed for the day. It's an instantaneous window. No room in the performance margins for the Falcon 9 there to actually get this thing to the space station with the hold. So because it's a hold in an realistically instantaneous window, it's a really short window. That is
actually
enough.
Before we go, can I make one thing on that?
Sure. Yeah.
There is actually a technical window. It's not technically instantaneous. It's just that for the Falcon 9's performance, and because of how they load the propellants and how they have to keep the propellants chilled and at proper temperatures in that load and go procedure, they have to pick a specific time. So they just pick the dead center of the window, which is the most efficient. It puts you directly in the plane of the ISS. That's what gets you the instantaneous window. But there is technically a 5 or 10 minute window.
Yep, it's like a realistically instantaneous window. Even though it is a window, the window is so short that there's no time to recycle if you have a hold or something like that. So that's exactly correct. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see here, and I think I finally figured out how to get the screen to say scrub. I think I need to update the bottom as well so that it doesn't say scrub. But it took me just a second there. I'm just gonna put not launching tonight. And then I'm going to hit save. There we go. Okay, cool. Let me grab a couple more of the super chats that came in. But Chris, if you need to be packing up, you can clear that feed out, and we'll just roll it out on Fleet Cam here. Again, y'all, officially a scrub.
If we want to roll through a couple more questions, I've got time for that. This is Kennedy, not the Causeway. I'm not going to be kicked out.
Yeah, sure. So here's a question from JR via super chat saying, "Here's some coffee money. Will it be visible up the East Coast at all?" No, it's scrubbed for the night.
Well, that. That, definitely. But tomorrow, definitely, weather permitting, yes, it should be visible up most of the eastern seaboard of the United States as long as it is clear. Maybe portions of southern Ontario and Quebec could also see it in Canada if the weather is super clear. It would look like a little dot moving along the lower horizon. But as long as the weather's clear, yep, you should see it.
Gotcha. We got one from Lori Jones-Wilson real quick. Says, beer money to celebrate both a successful launch and my birthday. Well, let's stick with your birthday there, Lori. We'll give the launch attempt tomorrow. Says, I'll be sleeping half the day away during the day. What better way to celebrate? Well, I mean, hey, maybe we'll get a lunch tomorrow and save some of the beer and get a nap. Well, it sounds like a great plan to me. Let's see here. Denied, we appreciate the support there. Thank you so much. Osprey GT, this is from a little while ago because it says the weather isn't looking amazing. You have a crystal ball? It says heavy rain's supposed to start about 5 minutes before launch. That was 8 minutes and 40 seconds when they call that hold in the scrub there. So they are not doing launch. We appreciate the support, Osprey. Here is one that says, what determines where boosters land with Falcon Heavy launches? Interesting, Falcon Heavy launches. It's a dream of mine to see launch and dual booster landing close up. We get any Falcon Heavies?
Yeah, so it's the same exact principle. Oh, and it's starting to rain again, so I'm going to answer this, and then I'm going to leave and pack up on my end, DOS. But yeah, so for Falcon Heavies, it's the exact same thing that you're looking at for the Falcon 9. It's the mass of the payload, how much propellant does each of your stages have to, of your lower stages, do you have to expend to leave enough propellant in your upper stage to complete the mission, right? So for Falcon Heavy, most of the time that means you can reserve enough propellant in the side cores that they can perform the dual synchronous landings back at LZ1 and LZ2, the landing zones here at the Cape for a return to launch site landing, and then enough can be reserved in the core stage to attempt a really, really like 900 or 1,000 kilometer downrange landing on one of the drone ships. However, if it's a really heavy payload, or it's a payload that needs more propellant in the second stage to go interplanetary or something like that, then it might not be possible. You might have to burn propellant in those side cores to the point where there's not enough left to boost back to come back, just like the CRS cargo missions are now. Too heavy to boost completely back to the Cape for a landing. So in that case, just read the instructions and a short fall of gravitas would be stationed downrange, and both of the boosters would come down onto them, and you'd expend the core stage at that point because you don't have another ship to land it on.
Gotcha.
And also, for some missions coming up, that this might be a thing. Falcon Heavy can also fly fully expendable if it is needed.
They just throw all 3 pieces away, huh?
They can throw the whole thing away if they absolutely need to for the mission.
All right.
Yep, and they will do it if they have to. They don't want to, but they'll do it if they have to. So, Das, it is starting to rain again, so I'm going to protect the
back it
equipment.
up.
So
Yep.
I'm going to sign off for today. I will see you all tomorrow, but Das, thank you much. It was
Yeah,
fun.
absolutely.
And Julia and Gavin, yeah, it was fun. We'll do this again tomorrow.
All right,
Maybe.
yeah.
See you
Again,
bright
y'all,
and early.
that's Chris Gebhardt. He's out there actually at the Cape at the press site today, but the weather going through, he needs to get the camera gear packed up and stuff like that, and back in the car so he can drive on back home and get some sleep. Let me see if we can get a couple more questions here, and then we will go on through. Gav, can you name all the ships that are in the shot right now?
Yes, I can.
You better be able to.
Funnily enough. On the very left of the screen, so half cropped out is just read the instructions drone ship. They've been doing some work on that the last couple of days, not quite sure what they've been doing there. Then to the right of that, sort of in the middle, it's Go Searcher, one of the Dragon recovery ships. And then on the right-hand side, mostly flushed out by the white light, is the other Dragon recovery ship, Go Navigator.
Excellent. So they're just hanging out there in port. What are they doing with what were they planning on doing? Trick question. With the fairings for this launch?
Well, hopefully nothing, seeing as there is no fairing on the Falcon 9 for this launch. When it's a Dragon mission, there is no requirement or need for a fairing, so there's nothing to recover because they're not launching any fairings. So no ships go out, they just send the drone ship, and that is it.
It's just the drone ship. Does the drone ship still have a tug that goes with it? Yeah, Julia.
Gavin, there's a tug out there. Hello.
Go on then.
And there's also Go Quest. Hello.
What are those for, Julia? Help us out.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so we talk about autonomy, but we are not there quite yet. So your drone ship needs a ride out to the landing zone, and that would be done by Finn Falgot. You also do need Go Quest, because Go Quest brings your technicians and your divers and things like that along with them, as well as some communications gear and other things on their deck. So we still need them, right, Gavin?
Yeah, we still need those 2 things for now. Once we move towards autonomy, we might see Go Quest and the drone ship tug no longer required. We've got some new larger ships coming very soon called Bob and Doug, if you've seen photos of those going around. They will potentially handle fairing recovery and drone ship operations. So SpaceX is kind of shifting what they're doing. So that the situation there might change up in the next couple of months potentially.
Gotcha. Are those on the way yet? Are they done? I know they were we saw the big Sheila Bordelon, and then they had the old fairing catchers that got redone and expired and stuff. Are we going to see those in port soon?
Yes. In fact, Doug is trying to outrun a storm right now, and it's on its way here. Gavin, do you think we'll see it maybe Monday?
Yeah, hurricane dependent. It might hopefully be Monday, but they might have to sort of stall and move somewhere else to try and dodge the worst of the weather. So we'll say net Monday, but it could end up being sort of Tuesday, Wednesday. We need to see really. So Doug is on its way. Bob, the other ship, is currently in Louisiana. They will need to also outrun the storm, but probably in a different direction because we're not quite sure if that ship is ready yet. But Doug will be here very, very soon, and then Bob will follow when it's ready.
Gotcha. So we will maybe see those coming in on Fleet Cam, or we'll see one of them coming in on Fleet Cam maybe if they get it around Florida over to the East Coast, I guess, huh?
That is
Yeah.
correct. So stay tuned on Fleet Cam. Watch for our tweets.
Excellent. And that's the camera we're showing here right now, y'all. Since Chris had to pack up, we do have a 24/7 cameras there at Port Canaveral, and we call it Fleet Cam. And we'll see the ships. We see them doing training out in the water and stuff like that. If a booster comes in, we have shots of the booster on the drone ships and stuff like that. When they're doing work and using cranes and stuff, we see all that stuff on Fleet Cam. But that is what we're referring to when we say Fleet Cam. Let me see if I can just get the rest of these through. Joshua Bradley, thank you so much for the support. We appreciate you. Julian Followell as well, thank you so much. I'm going to tell you off the top of my head, I cannot tell you how much propellant they lose if they have to go through a scrub. So I don't know that they have ever officially released an answer that says exactly how much money it costs them or how much propellant they use. I can't answer that one for you. And then Mr. Swagger, at the end of the list here, we've got Mr. Swagger saying, any idea when S20 will launch? 2 weeks, says Elon. For very, very various values of 2 weeks. And can I get a shout out to my grandma, Debbie? She watches all your live feeds, but unfortunately she's sleeping. Well, Mr. Swagger, link her to the live stream here at the end of the stream. And Debbie, thank you so much for being a part of the spaceflight community. Put it up on the TV or the laptop or computer or whatever, and hang out with us anytime you want to hear us babble about rockets. That's sort of what we do around here. But Mr. Swagger, thank you so much for the support. And that gets us through so we didn't miss anything in the Super Chat queue there. But I do believe, y'all, since this is officially a scrub for this evening, CRS-23 will not be launching from the Cape. Another attempt tomorrow where weather's looking a little bit better, 60%. NASA Spaceflight team will be back here once again broadcasting the launch, sharing it with you. Really quickly, we've already heard from Chris G. He had to get packed up because he was out there at the press site operating a camera. He is already taken off. Also with me on the stream tonight, we had Julia Bergeron. Julia, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me. I enjoyed using my nifty new headset.
Excellent. It sounds fantastic. Chad, doesn't Julia sound fantastic? We got a new headset for her. And also with me on the stream, we've got Gav. Wait, I don't see SpaceX Fleet anymore. What am I supposed to say, Gav?
Space Offshore now. We've done a rebranding.
Because you don't just track SpaceX stuff. You track all sorts of offshore.
No. Yeah, it's more accurate. But yeah, no, it's been great. Thanks for having me. We'll be back bright and early tomorrow morning.
Alrighty. Well, again, y'all, we do that at the end of the stream just so you can put a name to a voice. We don't use any of our screen real estate for talking heads. It is all about rockets, or in this case, ships that support rockets that we've got on Fleet Cam right here, right now. But it's always good to put a voice to a name or a name to a voice so you know who you're talking to. Hey, don't forget also, Stephen Marr was out there. He was going to do some photography, I believe, of the launch as well. Not on comms this evening, but he is another cool member of the NASA Spaceflight team who rolls out and does some really cool shots, photography, streak shots, sorts of things. He was out and about as well. But this evening, unfortunately, we won't be getting any of those awesome rocket shots with the scrub. In fact, what we're going to get is the end of the broadcast here. You don't have to go... Well, I mean, you're probably already at home. That's a dumb thing to say. You can continue watching Fleet Cam if you'd like to see waves. Or we've also got Starbase Live going, our 24/7 stream from Boca Chica, Texas, the Starbase where they're working on the Starship program. Some exciting things happening over there. We actually saw that quick disconnect arm get loaded on the transporters and scoot across the launch site. So it may be that they're getting that thing in position to be raised up to the tower if you're following what's going on with Starbase and the Starship program. But either way, whether you're here for the launches from the Cape, whether you like seeing the ships come in and out, or whether you want to see what's happening with everybody's favorite shiny Mars rocket, one day, you can continue watching here on the NASA Spaceflight channels. I'm going to stop running my mouth. We're all going to get some sleep. But my name is John Galloway for NASA Spaceflight. Thank you so much for showing up and watching this stream with us. We appreciate everybody who supports us and allows us to continue to do this. Even the members, the people that support us on a regular basis. And Twitch, I didn't forget y'all as well. Thank y'all so much for hanging out with us too. But for now, NASA Spaceflight's going to go ahead and be signing off. And we will see you nerds later. Hopefully see you tomorrow for another attempt at the launch of CRS-23. Thanks so much, y'all. Good night. Or good morning. I should just stop saying things like that. Later, nerds.
Propulsion continues to be normal.
RCP chamber pressure looks good. Toggling up. Roger roll, Atlantic.
Water towers can fly!
Tango Delta nominal.
Flight sound SE off. Say again, SE off. Yikes. You bet. Concur. We don't need any more of these.